So periodically I'll be poking around the streets of YouTube and I'll come across some drama. And it's especially interesting to me when there are YouTube creators that I subscribe to and I'm fans of have totally different takes. And in this case, it's Radiant Brit and Marissa from Not Another Housewife. So I'll start with Radiant Brit. Her channel is a commentary channel, primarily commenting on other YouTube creators, generally seen as having revenue-based ulterior motives. And she's really honed in on a lot of family vloggers, and I guess you'd say kid vloggers. I'm not sure what that would be called, but where the parents are kind of behind putting their child as the star while they're behind the scenes doing the promotions, filming, and the likes. And I think she's done a good job at pointing out that almost pimping out your child on social media for monetization and the dangers there. My kids do watch shows with families that are all involved, and they do little skits, play video games, what have you. And it's clearly geared toward kids as the audience. I think some of what Brit is talking about blur that line, and a lot of the audience seems to be not just kids but adults. I mean, it's an ugly world out there. If there's one thing we should have learned over the last several years is the prevalence of CP and that mindset of exploiting children. I believe now it's more prevalent than we've ever thought it was in the past. So it's naive to think that some of the audience, particularly male adults, do not have nefarious intentions when following some of these child stars of social media. I don't think kids should be the meal ticket or golden goose for the parents to exploit. These kids, especially the younger kids, are not really of age to decide for themselves whether they want to be in what essentially is a reality show. We all know that social media is more times than not a very nasty place. People do not hesitate to post a comment that is just can really cut to the core. You have to be mature enough to be able to handle it and the psychological implications those comments can have online and in real life. And kids aren't. And kids are subjected to these comments. And I see the damage it could cause. And they don't have a choice in it. So I think Radiant Brit does a good job of shining a light on this and exposing it. Now, where Brit gets sideways and loses a lot of people is when she critiques the parenting of some of these family vloggers, like the doughertydozen mom, specifically over things like grocery shopping and what type of food she buys the kids, and some things she sees around the house that aren't exactly in order or perceived as safe. And one of those is Marissa from the channel Not Another Housewife. She skewered Radiant Brit on a video. I mean, just roasted her, and it was funny. I mean, she may have a career in comedy, because I was laughing. But her main beef with Brit was the fact that Brit is not a mother. Some of the things that Brit talks about, she doesn't have her perspective on, like when things get messy. And I understand, as a father, things do get messy. The house is not always clean. You can clean up something, and the next second it's a mess again. And not just messy in a literal sense, but messy as far as sharing the chinks in the armor, showing imperfections of parenting. When you lose patience, when your kids are really wearing you out and showing that vulnerability. And it is brave for family vloggers or mothers in particular to show the messy side of things. And then you have someone like Britt who really has no idea what it's like to be in those moments, commenting on how she would handle it and how that would work. So I agree with Marissa on that. But I think it's a shame that Britt's main message, like oversharing personal details about the kids, their medical issues, their location, and just generally using them as content for sponsorship and monetization, is being overshadowed by some of these nitpicking parental critiques, especially when she's not a parent herself. So I think that brings up an interesting point. Can a person with no children comment on the parenting of those with children? Is that fair game? I think that brings up the point of critics. Sports critics often never played sports. Some coaches never played the sport they're coaching in. So can Britt comment on parenting decisions when she's not a parent herself? I think that's an interesting question. Let me know what you all think below.